What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and in our last Dynasty video, we went through our first off-season with Akron. We've done a lot of recruiting, we brought in a really good class, we've done some position changes, and now we're ready to go into our preseason for Season 2. I'm really excited about where this program is heading, and it all starts with preseason here, so let's jump right into it. Let's go to preseason options, and let's look at our schedule. I've already set it up. Week 1, we got an open date like most teams do. Our first game is Cincinnati at home. I needed to pick a home game here because we got a lot of road games coming up. I wanted to play an in-state team that's a little bit above us in terms of like where they're at in conference play, and I figured it'd be fun to go up against Cincinnati because we're going to need that as hopefully a tune-up before we head down a real tough stretch. So we got another open date. I'm going to have 11 games on the schedule just like every other team, and we're going to head up to Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes. Number 4 in the country. Going to be a really brutal game, but I'm looking forward to it. And then we got 2 more road games where we're going to kick off our conference schedule at Northern Illinois, at Central Michigan. And then we're going to head back home. Week 7 is only our second home game on the schedule, and I think I got only 5 home games on the schedule. Just going to be pretty brutal, but we got Buffalo, Miami of Ohio. We got one break, an open week at week 9. Then another home game with Bowling Green and Ball State. So the game gave me a weird conference schedule. 4 straight home games. Everything is kind of like in bunches. But we're going to take a break from our conference schedule, and we're going to head to Miami to take on the Hurricanes, number 9 in the country. Going to be a nice break. Hopefully not a bad one in terms of getting injured and whatnot. Maybe we could pull off an upset there. But then we're going to head right back into our conference schedule at Ohio, at Kent State. So we got 3 straight away games, 4 straight home, 3 away, and 1 home. That's the only way it can give that to me. I'm not going to schedule Iowa at home. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe in a couple seasons we can do that. Miami, there's just no point for them coming up there. It's just not realistic. So we got 5 home games and 6 away. So it's going to be a pretty tough schedule. I know it says C-. That's just because of the conference. But either way, I'm really excited about this schedule. So what we're going to do next is go to redshirt players, and we get to look at our roster technically for the first time. If you did not watch the ending of the last video, we have straight to quarterback, since we're kind of dealing with red shirts here. We're not redshirting anybody. We don't have enough bodies here to really redshirt, and I'm not going to redshirt senior Luke Getsy, who somebody mentioned in the comments a couple of videos ago that he's like the new offense coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders, which I think is pretty cool. So that's him, by the way. Either way, we're not going to redshirt Jackson. Of course, he's our starter. You go to halfbacks, we got... These are all technically A-backs for this season, except for this kid. He'll get moved over next year. But we're going to redshirt these 2 halfbacks at the bottom. We're not going to need them this year. It's going to be the Gardner show. True freshman, really excited about him. And then Allen behind him. And then Newell will get in there as well. I think we're going to need at least 3 A-backs this season, and they're all freshmen. We got 5 freshmen, just ridiculous. You go to B-back or fullback, we're going to redshirt the athlete Chris Randall. I think McDaniel's going to do just fine for us this season. If he gets injured or something, we can kind of figure out what to do there. But we're going to redshirt Randall, and that gives us a 2-year difference between McDaniel and Randall, which I really like. So we're going to see if we can get by without Randall this season. I think we can. Wide receiver, we only got 5 guys, and we're going to redshirt the true freshman Adam Malloy. As you can tell, he's by far our worst receiver in the group, so we can redshirt him. Thankfully, we don't use a lot of wide receivers, so I think we can get by with just 4. Tight end, we're going to redshirt 1. All these guys do is block in my offense, and he's the only one that I could redshirt. Normally, I don't like to redshirt seniors, but we're going to lose. Actually, we're not going to lose any. I just figured it's just a good idea to just bring him back. That's just one less tight end I got to bother recruiting in the offseason. Tackle, we only got 1 guy that we can redshirt, and that is Jordan Lee, true freshman. He was the 1-star kid. I hate to go after him, but I feel like we needed the body. But we're going to redshirt him. You go to guard, we're going to redshirt a couple freshmen towards the bottom. As you see here, there's really nobody else I can redshirt except our best guard, which we're not going to do that. You go to center, nobody we can redshirt here. Defensive end, we got 3 to 4 pretty decent guys. They're all kind of the same. 3 of them in particular, all 3 of these guys can move them a little bit with their speed. I think, if I don't forget it, I'm going to have like a 3rd down defensive end. And I may put him like a nickel or something. So like Showers may be like my nickel guy on defensive end. We'll see how that goes, but I think that's the way I'm going to do that. Plus, these guys tire pretty easily. Same as defensive tackles. I'm only going to redshirt one guy, Tarashinsky, the true freshman. As you can tell, we're really not going to need him this year. You go to outside linebacker. You've got to remember we only play one outside linebacker at a time in our 4-2-5 defense. I'm going to redshirt this freshman. He looks to be about the same as his junior, but this junior has a much better awareness, and awareness is a big deal to me. I need some smart dudes out there. So it's going to be McNeil and Stokes, but the problem is we got a bad middle linebacker issue. We just don't have any good ones. The game didn't really help us out in recruiting much. I went after a couple of guys, but it was just slim picking. So it's a bit of a weakness here, but at least we got McNeil to bail us out. You go to cornerback, we're going to redshirt a couple of guys. I'm going to redshirt a junior because our top two guys are seniors. We're going to definitely need this guy next season. And I'm going to redshirt another junior because, again, we're going to be depleted after this year. But what's really cool is we're going to have, I think, a better nickelback, and we're going to put Joe Carter right there, and you're going to see that in the depth chart here in a little bit. That speed, we're definitely going to use that for blitzing and such. Free safety, I only need two active guys, and we are going to redshirt one of the freshmen, Quentin Rogers, and we're going to leave this guy active, and we're going to look at the depth chart, and I'll show you what I'm going to do there. Strong safety, I really only had a couple options to redshirt. We're going to redshirt Jason Cade. We just don't need him. As you can tell, we got a couple guys that are already ahead of him. You go to kicker, and besides, strong safety, we always play two at a time. These guys don't tire as often, so I think we can get by without needing Cade this year. I just got to remind myself when it comes to putting in our second string what that's going to look like, but we'll figure it out. Kicker, terrible situation. This is a newcomer. He was a JUCO guy, not very good, and a freshman walk-on. The game just did not help me out much in terms of punters. I went after several, but none of them could commit. It's just unfortunate. All right, that is it for redshirting. Let's go over to our rosters, and we're going to look at the depth chart. So it's going to be pretty simple. Jackson's our starter. That is obvious. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt any this year. He's our only dual-threat guy. We just got very unlucky in the offseason with recruiting. Just no quarterbacks really were interested in us, which is unfortunate, but we'll try to make do. You go to A-back, it's going to be the Gardner show, and then we got more freshmen behind him. I'm going to put Newell above Allen, and I think the reason why I've done that is because his carry's a little bit better, so I don't think he'll fumble it as much. So we'll see what happens there. B-back, Joe McDaniel, and then we're going to have Birchie behind him. He's the guy that we moved over, if I'm not mistaken, from A to B. Wide receiver, here's what we got it set up. Our two starters are Deontay Morris. He's going to be on the left side. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, my type of receiver for this offense. And we're going to put Brandon Williams on the right side. The reason why I'm doing that is he is our fastest wide receiver, and I like to use that wide receiver triple option play, and it's usually that Z receiver that gets that ball. So we're going to put him right there. But we're going to have Johnny Long as our slot receiver. I don't have to do any sub packages or formation subs this year, I don't think. And I think we're going to be fine. He looks like he's got the best catch rating of the bunch. So these three guys, hopefully they can just help us out a little bit in the passing game. Tight end, just blockers, nothing too fancy here. You go to tackles, we got Crouch at left tackle, by far our best offensive lineman. Donaldson, senior left guard at 74 overall. You go to center, Andy Willis, 82. Hopefully he has a better season this year than last. Right guard, 78, Andy Allman. You got right tackle, Shep. Now, I got Shep starting over Anderson only because his strength is a little bit better, and I think his run block is better, if I'm not mistaken. It is not. So, I think the reason, was it awareness? No, the reason why I got Shep over Anderson is because Shep is 303 pounds. Anderson's only 254 pounds. I mean, this guy's, he's just too little. It's a miracle that he's a 72 overall. Size does matter in this game for sure. Defensive ends, I got Showers and Williams behind him, and I got Grant and Williams. So Williams is going to be like my third down guy, more than likely. I got him backing up for both sides. Defensive tackle, pretty straightforward. Just the best guys are going to play. You got outside linebacker. This doesn't matter as much. We got to go to middle linebacker. I'm going to have Brian Stokes as our starting middle linebacker. Yes, he's the worst of the three if you want to go by overall, but he's faster and he's just as smart, and that's really all I need to look for there. And, of course, our outside linebacker, our number one guy, is going to be Paris McNeil, of course. Cornerback, Interesting. Reggie Corner's an impact guy. So you saw Carlton Jackson's an impact guy on offense. This is our defensive guy, Corner. Now, remember, he's the one that got in trouble several times over. I hope he keeps it clean this year. It wasn't anything too egregious last year, but it was a bunch of little bitty things. Either way, impact guy, and I'm really excited to see what he can do this year. Again, hopefully he can just stay on the field. But we got Henry, and then we got that true freshman, Joe Carter, with that blazing speed we're definitely going to use at the nickelback position. You go to free safety. I'm going to start the freshman over the junior, only because of his speed. I need speed back there. He's like the only high-end safety we're going to have back there. Of course, we got our strong safeties, but they play kind of all over the place. But I can't have an 80 speed free safety. I'm a little worried about his awareness. It's just nowhere near as good as Brown, so I'm sure he's going to make some mistakes, but that's what freshmen do. You go to strong safety, Pace, by far our best strong safety there, then Hickman behind him. And thankfully with Hickman, true freshman, 93 speed. So the more reps he gets in, the better this will go up, or the more it will go up. You go to kicker, awful situation. It is what it is. And same with punter. Technically, our punter is better than our kicker in terms of punting, but I guess it comes down to awareness. I don't know. When you look over at their kick power and accuracy, Gardner's got the better kick power, so to be honest, I probably just need to switch these two. So we're going to have Garner both kick and punt for us. Yes, I know the overall is a whole lot different, but I'm pretty sure it's because of the awareness. Then you go over to kick returner. We're going to have true freshman Joe Carter, the cornerback, start right here. He's our number one guy only because of his speed. I'm a little worried that he's a cornerback. His catch rating is not very good, so he may fumble it or a time or two. Let's pray that doesn't happen. But I got to use that speed somehow. So we're going to try that on special teams. We're going to have Brandon Williams behind him, wide receiver, and then true freshman Brandon Gardner. Normally people would put Gardner at the top just because of his agility, his speed, and he's an offensive guy. But I don't need him getting hurt on special teams. It's just not worth it. He's our number one A-back. So we'll have him as a third stringer on kick return, and our punt return situation is the same way. You go to kickoffs, we're going to just have our starting kicker do that. Long snapper, always typically like to have our number two corner center do that for us. I can go and put Ellis right here if needed. But I always like to put my backup right there. And that is it for the depth chart. I'm going to go to edit rosters, and we're going to look at our team captains. So our left tackle, Crouch, Tim Crouch, is our offensive captain, and our defensive captain, I put as Paris McNeil. If you go over to awareness and come up here, we're going to have McNeil as our defensive captain. I think he's well earned it. Such a good player for us last year. You go to program standards. It's a little below half. We need to make that a little bit lower as best we can. Hopefully a couple of backups get in trouble and we can really lower this. Now, I got 45 points to play with. Hopefully that's enough to get us through the season. All right, what's next? I think we're going to go to Athlon Sports. Preseason polls, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Florida, Iowa. We're going to take them on here in a couple of games. LSU, USC, Virginia Tech, Texas, Miami, and Florida State round out your top 10. I don't know where we're at. We're about to find out. They have us 54th in the country. We're C overall. Were we C last year? For some reason, I thought we may have been like C+. Either way, C- on offense, C+ on defense, and just really bad on special teams. So we're just a really young group, as you can tell. Let's go to Heisman Watch. AP, the man, the myth, the legend, up at the top there. Rhett Bomar looks like Oklahoma's prize for a really big season. Wide receiver from Toledo, Steve Odom, is up there. We may play them again in the conference title game if we can get there. Chris Leak from Florida, and then we got Calvin Johnson, Megatron, absolute legend, Hall of Famer. Cool. Let's go to preseason All-Americans. All-Americans, first teamer. I'm going to just briefly go through these, and if we got somebody on this list, that's really cool. If not, then no big deal. First teamers, no. Second team, maybe no. We can go to All-Conference. We should have a few guys on there at least, you would think. First team All-Conference, do we have anybody on here? We got a couple. We got a few, and they're all defensive players. So Paris McNeil's a first-teamer. Deontay Henry. And then we got Chevin Pace, our strong safety. But again, this is all preseason. None of this really matters. But I do want to go to second team and see if we got anybody on here. And it looks like we got another one. Andre Walker. I think he was our nickel last year. That's probably why he's on here, because he had a couple sacks and such. But that's definitely going to change with Joe Carter taking that spot. unless I'm mistaken. Either way, we got a handful of all-conference preseason players, but they're all defensive guys. Let's go to Conference Outlook. They have us projected 3rd overall in the conference, which makes sense. Toledo and Bowling Green, they still got more talent than us. Then you got Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, so on and so forth. But you look over to our division, Bowling Green, then us, Miami of Ohio, Kent State, Buffalo, and then you have Ohio. Let's go to toughest places to play. This doesn't really affect us. Our little stadium will never get on this list. I can't imagine. It'd be cool if it did, but I can't imagine that will ever come to fruition. But either way, there's your toughest places to play. I think we're ready to recruit. Let's go, actually, before I do that, let's go to playbooks. So playbook has not changed. We got a ton of flex bone, all 6 flex bone formations, and we got 3 wishbone. The difference we're going to do this year, if you notice down in our bottom of our overlay, we are going to do more wishbone. The biggest advantage the wishbone has over the flex bone is you have more halfback runs that are just easier to work with. That's the downside to the flex bone formations. These A-back runs, the sweeps and arounds just aren't very good. But the wishbone ones are excellent, and we can do some more option out of that. So at least we can break up the monotony a little bit from not going flex bone 100% of the time. We can throw in some of that wishbone against some of our A-backs out there to the edge and things of that nature. I think that's going to help things a little bit, and it should provide a little bit more fun and frivolity to the offense. I'm really excited about that. Now I think we're ready to recruit. So what I like to do is look at our pipeline states. Now we are a 3-star program, so we're only going to go 3-star and below, of course. And let's just go and find our pipelines. We should only have a few. We still got Florida as a pipeline, but I try not to recruit there because we're so far away. It's just very expensive to recruit down there. So let's keep going. We should have Ohio, Pennsylvania, and maybe Virginia still. We're going to go through these. Of course, there's Ohio. Always like to start there first, and of course, there's Pennsylvania. And then I think Virginia. We still got to make Pennsylvania, Virginia a priority. And that may be it, and it is. So let's go ahead and start at Ohio first. And let's look at our roster. So we need quarterbacks in the worst way. We need speedsters there. We just got unlucky in the offseason. Hopefully we can figure something out there. If for whatever reason we can't get one in the regular season, I think due to lack of depth, we should have no problem finding some quarterbacks in the next offseason. I don't want to 100% rely on that, though. So maybe we can find one here in the regular season. Looks like we need some defensive ends, which sounds like it's a good situation. Looks like we don't need a whole lot of players coming back or for our next recruiting class, but we all know we need some roster turnover. So let's go with Ohio. And let's go position by position. Again, 3-star and below. Here's a 4.88 kid. Now, I was told, and I've been told this actually several times, that I don't need the fastest quarterbacks in the world to run this offense. The biggest thing is it still helps you if you have it. You know, somebody who can run a 4.56 is always way better than somebody who can run a 4.88. In that case, I just don't think it's worth it going after a guy like this. He's a balanced guy, but 4.88, again, it's just too slow for me. We'll keep going. A-backs, we really don't need them. We got 5 on there already. Unless I find somebody that runs like a 4.24 like Gardner does, it's just not worth it. And here's a 4.39 guy, but he's a 4-star, so let's just keep going. We're really good at B-back. We don't really have to worry about, of course, natural fullbacks. But wide receiver, we're always going to need help here because we're just not going to get a lot of interest in the offseason because we just don't throw the ball enough. But here we got 2 big guys that look exactly the same, 6'5", 207, 6'4", 200. They both got some good squat numbers. I'm actually going to go after both because if you notice here, it says we got 5 wide receivers coming back. We'll go ahead and scout these guys anyways, and if I need to take one off, we can do that. Tight end, I'm not worried about it. Tackle, we need help here in the worst way. I know it says we don't need any, but trust me, you looked at our roster, we need better players here. So 6'6", 310, 6'5". His awareness isn't very good, but that's okay. I just need some big, massive dudes. 6'8", 285, 310. This guy's got a little bit stronger presence about him, and he's just bigger. I'm going to go put one on him. Let's go to guard. Here's a 5-star, and let me make sure I've done that correctly. Yes, he is a 3-star. So guard, here is a 5 and a 4. We're not going to worry about that. Center, 5. Here's a 4 or a 3-star kid. 6'3", 270. I'll go ahead and put one on him for now. I wish he was a little bit bigger, but we'll go ahead and put one on him. Defensive end, I'm going to try to keep it with the natural defensive ends. I'm a little confused. Sometimes I wonder, do I need speedsters at defensive ends or do I need bigger guys and just let other guys blitz, like my strong safeties and my nickel and such. I don't know. It's just a tough call. Otherwise, I would get somebody like this, and we can have like a humongous front four. I've really thought about doing that. So I think that's what I'm going to test. Let's go ahead and try that. I know this may go against the 4-2-5 rules. You may need speedsters at defensive end, but I want to go after some bigger dudes here. So let's go after this guy. Okay. Let's go defensive tackle. We can look here. It says we got 4 coming back, but I wouldn't mind finding, you can never have too many of these guys. And none of these guys are really big enough for me. So I think I'm going to move on. Outside linebacker, 3-star kid. He looks the part. He looks pretty smart. Got some speed to him and whatnot. I like his name, Rufus Warren. Let's go ahead and put one on him. Middle linebacker, we need this in the worst way. Looks like they only got 1 3-star kid on this list, and he's very slow, so I'm not going to bother with him. No offense to him. Cornerback, we don't really need anybody here. We got 5 guys, and we only play like 3 at the most. Unless I can find somebody that's like 6'5" and is really fast, I'd go after him, but I don't really see what I'm looking for here. It's not a big priority at the moment. Free safety, we got 3 guys. They're all coming back. Should I bother? I don't know. I need some guys who are super fast and super smart, and then none of these guys really fit the bill. So I'm going to move on. Strong safety, we can never have too many of these guys. Now here's a 3-star kid, Ryan McIntosh. Jeez, that was sounded terrible. McIntosh. I'm going to go after this kid. I like his awareness, and he's fast enough. It looks like he's got some strength to him as well. I think he'd be a good pick for us. So that is it for Ohio. We've got 5 spots left, so I need to be careful. I think what I may do is go back to these wide receivers. I'm going to take them off just for now, and if we got an extra spot, we can put one of these guys on there. But we got to go to Pennsylvania. Let's see what we got. Quarterback, 4-star. I'm not going to bother. No. Wide receiver. Here's another 3-star kid. Look at this guy. 6'7", 225 pounds, 470 on the squat. You go over here, these guys are only 350 on the squad. This guy is perfect for what we're looking for. I think he's the one we need to go after. Just a humongous individual. Let's do that. Tight end, I'm not worried about it. Tackle. Do we have anybody here that's humongous and whatnot? 6'2", 304, 6'8", 310. They both, this guy looks a little bit stronger, maybe not as smart. So, like, who do you decide on? I think I'll go after the bigger guy. I care more about the strength than anything else. Guard. 4-star, center, no. Defensive end, 4 stars, no. Linebacker, middle linebacker, no. Corner, no. Free safety, 4-star dudes. And here's a 3-star strong safety, 5'10", 200-pounder. I wish he was a little bit smarter. We may just bypass on him. So we are done with Pennsylvania. Let's go to Virginia. I can go back to him if needed. Let's go look here. Quarterback. Here's a 3-star kid, 4'8", a lefty. He is humongous, and he's bad. I kind of want him just because he's left-handed. But again, he's just not fast enough. Man, 4'8", that's like, what, 65 speed or something? It's just, I don't know. Let's just keep going. Halfback, 4-star, fullback, wide receiver. Unless one of these guys are as humongous as that other one, and I'm not seeing it. Looks like these are all really small dudes. So we're going to bypass all that. Tight end, no. Tackle, guard, center, defensive end. Nope. Defensive tackle. Nope. 4-star kids. Outside linebacker, 4-star. 4-star corner, free safety, strong safety. And that's it, really. So we can try our hand. Xavier Hawley, I'm going to just go put one on him. I feel like it's possible we may struggle getting quarterbacks in the offseason, but let's just go ahead and put one on him. Now what we can do is I may go back. Somebody mentioned that I should go like all in on just like one guy, and I kind of understand that. You can, like, if I went after this guy, put 100% points on him, I could maybe close to be getting him, but he's a 5-star kid, and that's just not realistic, and I don't want to do that. So we got 4 more spots to go. So what we can do is I'm going to go down to these 3-star quarterbacks, and we'll just recruit across the country. Can we find one that's fast enough? Now here's a kid, Robert Jordan, 3-star kid, 4'6'9". That's like, what, 73, 74 speed, maybe? Let's keep going. I'm not seeing a lot of fast quarterbacks. They're all pretty slow. Here's a 4'6'9" guy out of California, 4'7'8". Here's a 4'6'5" out of Wisconsin. That's not too far, actually. Let's go ahead and put one on him. 5'07". So I think what I may do is, should I go after this kid, Evan Hall, 4'6'9", or go after, where was that other 4.69 guy? Oh, he's up here. Ryan Baldwin out of Louisiana. I don't think it really matters. One's a little bit 445. They look exactly the same. 5'11", 195. This guy's a little bit taller. I don't know. We're already going after 2, and I'm okay with that. So let's just move on. Let's go find something else of need. Let me look here. Maybe we can go find a guard and a center. That's probably pretty important. Let's go across the country and find a guard. Let's finish the rest of this up with some offensive linemen. Let's go here. So let's go find some humongous individuals. And let's just see. This guy looks pretty good. 6'1", 335. Here's a kid out of Illinois, 6'6", 344. Michigan, these 2 guys may be the ones worth going after. And I'm just kind of looking at their strength and whatnot. Here's a kid out of Kentucky. So that's kind of close, kind of sort of. I really like these 2 guys right here. 6'6", 344 and 6'1", 335. Both of them just got a lot of strength to them. I think that's going to be good pickups there. Now let's go to center. Can we find one that is just humongous that we can have maybe start next year? Let's see if we can find one. 640. Here's a 670. This is what we need right here. And he's out of Michigan, so he's close. We're going to do that. So we are down to 0 scholarships. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to play week, and we're going to sim the week. And then we're going to look at some recruiting, and then I'll let you go. Hopefully, I'm going to try to go after 4 guys at the most, 5 if it just makes a lot of sense. But let's go to in-season recruiting, and let's see what we got. So our top guy, apparently the best player of the bunch, is this McIntosh kid. I really like him. I really want to go after this guy. But let's see if we can find positive pitches first. So this guy's a negative pitch for that guard, so we're not going to bother there. Negative pitch for that defensive end. Wide receiver, quarterback, tackle, outside linebacker. Not a positive pitch yet. Not a single one. Okay, not a big deal. Let's go this strong safety. Let's go put 25 on him. Let's do 20 for now. Here's a center, 6'3", 270 out of Ohio, the local kid. May need to go after him. Let's just keep going. Guard, is this the one that's got the negative pitch? We'll bypass him. Defensive end, negative pitch. We'll bypass him. Kevin Whitlock, the guard. This guy's much bigger. He kind of fits what we're needing more than the Dean guy. Well, he's the one that's got the negative pitch. Here's a wide receiver, 6'7", 225. I think it's worth going after this guy. He's the humongous individual. Would be really cool to see in our offense. Let's put 20 there. Let's look at this quarterback, Tyler Randall. His arm just isn't great, but that's fine. It's not the biggest thing in the world. We don't throw enough, but I think he's worth going after. 4.65, it's what, 76 or 74 speed, which is more than good enough. I'm going to go ahead and put some points on him. So we got 2 more spots left. Let's look at these other 4 guys. So here's a tackle, 6'6", 310. We're at the top of his list. We may need to bother putting some points on him. Outside linebacker, he looks the part. We're at the bottom of his list, but doesn't mean a whole lot. And here's guard, Chris Hagan. And another quarterback, great strength on the arm, but terrible accuracy. And he runs a 4.82. Unfortunately, I think he's just too slow for what I'm wanting. So we got one more guy, tackle Victor Hampton, the 6'8", 310 kid. So we got 2 more spots to fill. So I guess I'm going to go after 5 guys. I'm going to go after one of the tackles. Which one? 480, 655, 490, 680. And he's out of Pennsylvania, where this guy is out of Ohio. Keeping this pipeline matters more, so let's go put 20 on him. And the last guy we'll go after, was there another one we was thinking about going? I think one of these guards that I may want to go after. Not this one, but this one right here. We just need help here in the worst way. So let's go put 20 on this guard out of Michigan. And I think I'm pretty good there. So we got a strong safety, Ryan McIntosh, guard, Kevin Whitlock. Again, humongous. We just need somebody there. Wide receiver, this guy's a must get. He's going to be a fan favorite if we can get him. Jason Coleman. And then we got quarterback Tyler Randall. It just fits what we're trying to do. And he's local-ish. Wisconsin's not too far from Akron. Then we got tackle Victor Hampton. So we're going after 1 tackle, correct? And 1 guard, a wide receiver, quarterback, and a strong safety. So I think that's a good little group. So we're going to stick with those 5 guys. So it should be a lot of fun. All right. In our first game of the season, in our next Dynasty video, we're going to take on Cincinnati. They got a little bit more talent than we do, but it should be kind of an even matchup. They run like a pro-style offense and I think a 4-3 defense, but it should be a fun little in-state battle, and hopefully we can kick off our season with a win. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.